What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about the Winnipeg Jets 2024 NHL offseason. Not a whole lot really going on here, not a whole lot of news. We were promised some fireworks, maybe a Rucker McGroarty, Nikolai Ehlers trade. None of that has come to fruition, and even less has come to fruition in free agency. With the fallout of Rucker McGroarty and the Jets' relationship, it was widely speculated that he was going to be on the block and used as a piece for the Jets to move into the first round. The Jets trying to trade up around, the 10 to 14 range. Seems like they almost had a deal done with Minnesota, but Minnesota obviously had a prospect they liked and they traded up to 12. Seems like the same thing with Buffalo. Seems like the Jets tried to acquire the 14th pick. Seems like they had a deal in place. However, Rucker said that he would not sign in Buffalo, so the deal had fallen apart. So that was that. The Jets did not move Rucker McGroarty and still haven't at the time of making this video. They did not pick in the first round. They ended up selecting the 37th overall pick, Alphonse Frege. That pick obviously from the Gabe Vilardi deal. Pretty good European defenseman. I really like him. Really fast, puck-moving guy. I think he could be a really nice fit here in Winnipeg in the future. Also to note, in the fourth round, 109th overall, the Jets took the highest drafted Chinese-born player in NHL history, Kevin He. He looks pretty interesting. I'm excited to see how he develops. A lot of people are saying great things about him, so I can't wait to see what he's all about. So that's very exciting for those two. The Jets ended up rounding out the draft with Marcus Lopinen in the 5th round and trading up to get Kieran Walton in the 6th round. So pretty quiet at the draft for the Jets, just a 4-player draft class this year, obviously trading picks earlier on last season to acquire some talent for their playoff run. So they did not have a first-round pick, obviously tried to move back into it as I mentioned before. They ended up trading their first-round pick for Sean Monahan, and it seemed like the Jets really wanted to bring Monahan back. They were, right up until July 1st deadline trying to get a contract to work with him. It did not work out, and it didn't work out for a lot of their UFAs. So here's my notable departures list. First off, Brendan Dillon, 3 years, $4 million per year with the New Jersey Devils. Very good deal for him. Obviously, Dylan Sandberg going to be stepping up into his role now. The Jets save some cap, and the Devils get a very solid defenseman there, so hats off to Dilly. Thank you for your time here. Sean Monahan, acquired at the deadline. I wasn't super crazy about the pickup in general. I think Sean Monahan's very slow. He's obviously incredible on the power play, but 5-on-5, I'm really not a big fan of him. The Columbus Blue Jackets swoop in out of nowhere for some reason and sign him to a $5.5 million deal. He'll make $27.5 million, so great job, Sean, for bouncing back, getting your career back on track after all those injuries. But I'm just really happy the Jets did not go that route for the 2C. We'll touch on that later. Tyler Toffoli signs a 4-year deal, making $6 million per with the San Jose Sharks, so he'll be, helping out Macklin Celebrini, William Eklund and company over there. That'll be a pretty fun retirement contract for him. Laurent Brossoit, 2-year deal, $3.3 million per with the Chicago Blackhawks. Good for him, finally maybe getting a starting job in the league. I know it's with the Blackhawks. They're not going to be the craziest team ever, but hey, with Connor Bedard and some of the pickups they made, they'll at least be somewhat competitive this year, I think. And then the Jets bought out Nate Schmidt, freeing up $3.2 million in cap space this season. He signs a 1-year deal for $800K with the Florida Panthers. Now I look at this and I know a lot of people are going to be upset, like, oh, look at all the guys we lost here. How are we going to be competitive? Well, we knew Tyler Toffoli was gone. We knew he was going to be making too much money. We knew Laurent Brossoit kind of priced himself out of a backup role, wasn't going to be back. Nate Schmidt, we all kind of speculated would be bought out. Brendan Dillon kind of already spoke his piece over a month ago, saying that, hey, I wasn't offered a contract, wish I was. And at the end of the day, he's not back, so he's with the Devils now. And Sean Monahan, a guy that I thought the Jets were going to sign, even though I didn't want them to, and he ends up with the Columbus Blue Jackets. So truthfully, the only real surprise here I can say is Monahan. I really thought the Jets were going to nail that one down. I'm happy they didn't. And, it ends up being a better fit for them personally, I think. I think Nemesnikov probably fits better on that second line than a Monahan does if you're playing with Ehlers and Perfetti. But that's just me. Monahan's a great player, but maybe not the guy the Jets should be investing for the next 5 years for. After losing him, the Jets then tried to pivot to Adam Henrique to fill their second-line center role. He's a 35-year-old center already. I was kind of, on the fence about it. I like Henrique much more in a bottom six role, but the Jets go ahead and lose on Adam Henrique. Henrique goes back with the Oilers and signs a deal there. So the Jets now without a 2C, maybe they're looking to trade one or trade for one rather, with Rucker McGroarty in the package or something like that. But right now, it does appear that Vlad Namestnikov may end up being the second-line center at the start of the year, and I don't really mind that. He had great success last year at the 2C position when he had to step into that role. I think that he's going to flourish there. He's not the guy that you want going into the playoffs, and I think that, whether it's a trade deadline move or a young player stepping in, the Jets will eventually move on from him being the second-line center, and Vlad will take a role in the bottom six. But that takes me to my next point. The Jets are getting younger this year, and this is a great thing. The Jets really tried. They really tried to add, some veterans in this lineup to block the youth, but now they don't really have a choice but to say, okay, we need to be playing some of the young guys, and I don't know if a lot of them will start on day one or anything, but I do believe that Ville Heinola will be on the bottom pairing, whether that's playing with Colin Miller, who did re-sign. We're going to be talking about the signings in just a second here, and I do expect Elias Salamonson, defenseman from Sweden, to at least get a look. I assume he'll be starting the year in the AHL, however, probably where, he should start, maybe gets a call-up midway through the year. But at the 2C position, we just talked about the Jets whiffing on Monahan and Henrique, now have Namestnikov there. Do they take a look at adding Brad Lambert in that position? I'd probably say he's the first call-up, no matter what, right, to end up being in a position. I don't know if he'll get it right away. Maybe there'll have to be an injury or something going wrong first, but Brad Lambert could definitely be a candidate at center. With the Jets in the top six. He's a better center than he is a wing. I don't know how well he would adapt at the wing position. He really struggled, but as soon as he started playing center, he found his confidence again, and I think that he's more of a center than a winger in the NHL. While we're talking about young players here, Nikita Chibrikov is a very impressive, speedy winger. Smaller guy, 5'9", Russian forward, but he is mean as hell. He is a hard hitter, goes into the corners, he's a pest. I really like Nikita Chibrikov. He's a guy that I would love to see with Niederreiter and Lowry. I do think that, definitely needs some more polishing in the AHL first, but don't be surprised by year end if he's there, with the big club. He already has his first NHL goal as he scored it in the last regular season game of the year this past season. Looked very good in that game. Him and Brad Lambert look great. So we'll see what happens with them. Maybe they end up on the roster, at the start of the year. Maybe they end up on the roster by year's end. But either way, I do think they'll be an impact player for Winnipeg if they, so choose to go down the youth movement route, which, kind of seems like they're going right now. So we've talked about who they've lost. Let's talk about who they brought in. Colin Miller signing a 2-year, $1.5 million deal per season, so we'll make $3 million. I was a little bit surprised that he wanted to come back, but I really like Colin Miller. I think he's a good bottom pairing defenseman, really steady. Eric Comrie brought back, and I was like, okay, well, here we go again. Very predictable signing, but it kind of appears that he's going to be more of an AHL goaltender unless there's an injury to, their other free agent signing, Kaapo Kähkönen, another goaltender signed for 1 year, $1 million deal. Comrie kind of seems like he may be an AHL goaltender at this point, playing with Thomas Milik, who is definitely going to be the Moose starter, I would have to imagine, this year. Comrie, obviously a Winnipeg Jet before, but I think he's probably going to be with the Moose. I like the Kähkönen signing a lot. I like him, and he's a good player when he, isn't playing with an AHL defense in front of him. So I really like Kähkönen. We'll see what he can do. And Jared Anderson-Dolan signing a 2-year, $775K deal with the Jets. He'll be more of a depth player, probably just, replacing Jeff Malott. The Jets are definitely going to be having younger players stepping up this year. Some guys are going to get called up, and so they need to refill the cupboards there in the AHL as the Moose are losing players. But that is the offseason to this point. Maybe there is some more signings by the time you're watching this video, but at the moment, this is it, and I don't mind it, to be totally honest with you. Some of the contracts that were given out on free agency were hilariously bad. The Chandler Stevenson deal, the 7 years by $6.125 million by Seattle, is ridiculous. Lots of those players that people were pandering and, really wanting here in Winnipeg, signing elsewhere, it couldn't have worked out better, truthfully. I think the Jets are way better off letting some of these younger guys step in and not paying, 30-year-old comparable veterans to do, maybe what these young guys could do in a year. And I know a lot of you are like, oh, well, we're a worse team now because of this. And maybe that's true, but it's more of a wait and see. I think it's worth the gamble to play these younger guys, not end up, poaching your future with these bad contracts and locking them in until they're, 37, 38 years old. I think this is great by the Jets. Obviously, they did it by accident. They were really trying to sign some veterans to fill into that 2C hole. Didn't work out, and now they're forced to play the young guys. But maybe by accident, this will work out. I don't mind how the roster looks right now. I would love another top 6 player, but maybe that comes in a Rucker trade. Still have that in the back pocket. We'll have to wait and see. But that's all I got today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. As always, leave your thoughts down below in the comments. What did you guys think about the offseason to this point? Are you happy with it? Are you sad that these UFAs are gone? Or are you just, happy to play the youth? Let me know down below. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm out of here, guys. Have a good one. Go Jets, go. Bye-bye.